voice on the phone wanted a payment. Alex didn't understand. He never took out a loan. He never spent a single dollar of that money. He never drove the car it paid for. But the account had his name on it, and the account was months behind. Someone he loved had asked him to sign. Just your name, they said. You'll never pay a cent. Now that person had gone quiet, the payments had stopped, and the lender wasn't calling them. The lender was calling Alex. The money went to them. The responsibility came back to Alex. To understand how he got here, you have to go back to the day he said yes. It didn't feel like a financial decision. It felt like a family moment. Someone close to him needed help. Maybe it was a brother, maybe a partner, maybe an old friend who had always been there. They had found a car or an apartment or a chance to go back to school, and they were short. Not short on will, short on approval. The lenders had looked at their income, their history, their credit, and said no. Then the lender said something else. It said yes, if someone else signs too. So they came to Alex, and they didn't ask for money. They asked for something that felt smaller. They asked for his name. You're not paying anything, they said. I only need you so they'll approve me. I will never miss a payment. You know you can trust me. You're the only one who can do this for me. And that's the part that makes this trap so quiet. Alex didn't sign because he was careless. He signed because saying no felt like turning his back on someone he loved. Saying no felt selfish. Saying no felt like telling that person you don't believe in them. So he signed. In his mind, he was giving support. He was standing next to them. But that's not what the lender saw. To Alex, it was a favor. To the lender, it was a second person to collect from. Here is what a co-signer actually agrees to, in plain words. When you co-sign, you promise to pay the debt if the main borrower doesn't. Not part of it, the whole thing. The law even requires the lender to hand the co-signer a written notice that spells this out. It says you are being asked to guarantee the debt. It says you may have to pay the full amount, plus late fees and collection costs. And it says the lender can come to you without ever trying the borrower first. Read that last part again. The lender does not have to chase them and fail before turning to you. On a normal co-signer agreement, you are not the last resort. You can be the first phone call. Alex didn't read that notice too closely. Most people don't. It felt like paperwork. It was actually a warning. For a while, none of it mattered. The payments came in. The borrower sent a thumbs up now and then. Don't worry about it, they'd say. It's handled. Months went by. Alex almost forgot his name was on anything. That's how these arrangements feel, right up until the moment they don't. Everything looks fine because for a while, everything is fine. Then one payment was late. Maybe the borrower lost hours at work. Maybe an emergency ate the money. Maybe they just started avoiding the bill and then avoiding Alex. However it happened, the thing Alex didn't know is that the lender had no duty to call him the day it went wrong. That's not how it works. A co-signer can find out a payment is late long after it happened. Sometimes you find out when the damage is already sitting on your credit report. For Alex, the warning came sideways. Maybe it was a credit alert on his phone. Maybe it was his own loan application, the one he needed for his own life, coming back denied. Maybe it was a letter from a collector he had never spoken to about a debt he never spent. He called the borrower, and the borrower said all the things people say. I'm fixing it. It's one payment. Don't make this bigger than it is. I'll get it next week. But Alex's name was already inside the problem. This is the part that catches people off guard. Alex never got the money, but he got every consequence attached to it. The missed payment can be reported on his credit, the same as if he had borrowed the money himself. His score can take the hit. The debt sits on his file, so when he goes to borrow for his own family, a lender counts it against him. On paper, he already owes for a car he cannot drive. And the collection calls, the pressure, the fear that shows up at night. That is his now too, so he starts paying. Not because he used a single thing the loan bought. He pays because he is scared of what happens to his credit if he doesn't. And here's the cruel twist. Paying the debt does not make it his. Co-signing can make you responsible for the loan without giving you any ownership of what the loan bought. The borrower still has the car. Alex is protecting his own credit by covering payments on it. But he cannot just go take the car because his name may not be on the title at all. He could be responsible for paying for something he has no right to touch. All of the risk. None of the ownership. You can imagine what that does to a relationship. In the beginning, this was love. Someone needed help. And Alex showed up. Now, every phone call is about money. Promises have turned into excuses. Alex feels used. The borrower feels judged. He wants to protect himself, and he does not want to lose the person. Both of those things are pulling in opposite directions, and the loan is standing right in the middle of them. Money has a way of turning care into resentment, one missed payment at a time. So, Alex does what a lot of people do. He calls the lender and asks to be taken off the loan. And he learns the hard part. Getting your name onto a loan takes minutes. Getting it off is another story. The lender approved this loan partly because Alex was on it. His name was the safety net. They are not eager to give it back. Some loans do offer what is called a co-signer release, where the co-signer can be removed after the borrower makes a stretch of on-time payments and passes a fresh credit and income check. But it is not automatic, and it is not guaranteed. The servicer may not even tell you when you qualify. You have to chase it. And by one government finding, when people applied to have a co-signer released, close to 90% were turned down. The other common path is refinancing, where the borrower takes out a new loan in their own name and pays off the old one. But that only works if the borrower can now qualify a loan. And if they could qualify a loan, they might not have needed Alex in the first place. Which brings us back to the real trap. It was never really hidden in the paperwork. It was hidden in the relationship. People co-sign because they love someone, because they feel guilty saying no, because they are afraid of being called selfish, because they believe trust should be enough, because they want to rescue somebody they care about, and because they tell themselves the risk stays with the borrower, where it seems like it belongs. None of that is foolish. It is human. But love and a loan are two different contracts. You can believe in someone completely and still end up paying for a decision that was never yours to enjoy. That does not mean you can never help anyone. It means you should know the difference between help you can afford and debt you cannot walk away from. So if someone ever asks you to co-sign, here are the things worth sitting with first, calmly, before any pen touches paper. Assume you might have to pay the whole thing yourself. If that amount would sink you, that is your answer. Ask for the full terms. The monthly payment, the total balance, the late fees, the collection consequences. Read the co-signer notice if you get one, and do not treat it like a formality. Ask whether you will get your own copies of the statements or online access, so you are not the last to know when something slips. Ask whether a co-signer release even exists on this loan and what it takes. Understand that paying the debt is a separate thing from owning what it bought. Think about how this loan will sit on your own credit when you go to borrow for yourself. Keep copies of everything, and do not let a hard moment and a loving face push you into signing before you are ready. A promise made across a kitchen table is not the same as a name on a legal contract. One is a feeling. The other is enforceable. None of this is legal or financial advice, and the exact rules can change depending on the loan, the lender, the contract, and the state you live in. What does not change is the shape of the trap. Because in the end, Alex thought he was helping someone through the hardest month of their life. He thought he was lending his name. What he really lent was his credit, his options, and his peace of mind. The borrower got the money. Alex got the risk. And one quiet signature turned their promise into his debt.